As excited as I am for Series 14 of Doctor Who and Ncuti Gatwa's run as the Doctor, there has been one concern that has plagued me for a little bit of a while. Now, as much as I'm amping it up for the theatrics, it's not anything to do with the writing, the characters, the cast, or anything of that magnitude. No, it's something a lot smaller. I worry about the 15th Doctor's costumes for Doctor Who, and today I'd like to explain why. But before we get into that, if you could do me a teeny tiny little favour and click that subscribe button, it'd be very much appreciated. We are trying to overtake Big Finish, and any support in that mission would be greatly appreciated. But with that said, let's get into the video. So as the intro alluded to, I have some concerns for the 15th Doctor's costumes. Now you may be sat there thinking, Tharries, you've praised the 15th Doctor's costumes before. What's the big deal? And that's very true. Personally, I like a lot of his costumes, particularly his sort of leather one that we've seen him using during Christmas special filming. And in my opinion, he hasn't had a bad look yet. The weakest one is probably the Regency era England episode one on its own. Not because I hate it, but just because it's a period costume that fits well in that time period, but probably wouldn't be much of a versatile outfit. But I digress. My main fear when it comes to Ncuti Gatwa's costumes is that it seems as though we've had a lot of different costumes per episode. We know for a fact we have his reveal costume, his costume for the Christmas special, the 60s Afro costume, the Regency costume. There's been a yellow jacket costume that's only been seen very vividly in filming pictures, and we've also had it recently confirmed by on-set reporters that a finale costume is also going to be used. And my concern with this is less so that the costumes won't be good, I don't think that'll be the case, but more so that the idea of a Doctor having costumes every episode might lead it to feel a little bit gimmicky, and also somewhat strip the Doctor of their identity. And what I mean by that is, I think an underrated aspect to costume design in general, but particularly Doctor costume design, is how much those costumes reflect their Doctors. For example, Matt Smith's costume is professory, boffinish, nerdy looking. His clothes are older than his face, and that reflects that character perfectly. The 9th Doctor is stripped to basics. He's only in a leather jacket and a top, which reflects his kind of nature as a much less flamboyant incarnation of the character, and someone who has been rocked by the Time War and thus stripped back to their very foundation. What I'm essentially saying is that each Doctor costume tells us something about them as characters, for better or worse. And my concern with the sheer variety of Doctor costumes that they've presented for us with Ncuti Gatwa's Doctor is that in some way, if the costumes are too varied, as the costumes very much are, that the Doctor's identity within those costumes might somewhat get lost. Now you may say, well Tharries, there's been plenty of costume variations for each Doctor throughout history, and you're correct. However, in most cases, when it comes to costume variations for Doctors, they maintain at least a certain level of similarity with their original iterations. For example, the 7B is a more refined version of the 11th Doctor's costume. A lot of 12's variants go from being more formal to more casual, whilst also retaining his core look of big jacket and brogue shoes. And even 7's look in the TV movie, whilst being a bit of a departure, still feels like the 7th Doctor. Same goes for the 3rd Doctor, who has arguably the most varied wardrobe of any Doctor up until now. However, there's still an element of consistency and continuity throughout those costumes. They've still got a lot of velvet, they've got a lot of the ruffles that his costumes were known for, despite him having a varied wardrobe. And I guess my main concern is that if that continuity isn't kept between costumes, then the character somewhat might get a bit lost in them. To be fair, 2 out of the number of costumes we've seen in filming so far do have some level of continuity, and by which I mean the Christmas outfit and the reveal costume, both of which have kind of a brown coat and very prominently feature orange. The makeup of the costumes is very different, but there are some similarities there. So if, for example, orange is a regular colour scheme of Ncuti's Doctor, it doesn't need to be a permanent fixture, but I'm just saying an element of continuity might help us grasp onto this Doctor's character more effectively. And I know for a lot of you this might seem like very, very minimal stuff, and that's because it is. I'm not saying that this is going to make or break Series 14 or that it's going to ruin it or anything like that. I think we underestimate how much costumes can contribute to how we view a character. And whilst I like pretty much all of the looks we've seen Ncuti Gatwa in so far, I just hope they don't go too far in giving him all these extravagant, wacky looks, and in the process, we kind of lose the identity of whoever this Doctor is. But let me know in the comments below what you think about all this. I'd really be curious to see whether anyone agrees with me on this. Be sure to like the video if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new. Thanks for watching, and I will see you later.